generations. And now, the power of two restores the one.
We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel, Dyad in the Rough. Today we are talking about something that recently was announced about Star Wars as a little bit of a news piece. So, if you aren't familiar, we have a new show coming out this upcoming week, called The Acolyte, coming out on Tuesday, I believe. And The Acolyte has been a show that seemed to have a lot of promise. I know when the show was first announced, I was super excited for the show. The basis of it was supposed to be, Sith oriented and really starting to get some more of the dark side being highlighted in Star Wars. And so I thought that was super exciting. Well, we had some news come out recently about uh, the budget for the Acolyte, which was pretty interesting. And you may notice my background. It is not the Acolyte. Our background today is from Kenobi. And so what this information was is that it was announced that the Acolyte had double the budget than Kenobi. So let that sink in for a minute. The Acolyte had double the budget of the Kenobi show. So we're going to talk about, what are some of the both ends of the spectrum here. What's good about it? What's bad? Why would Disney want to try to do this? And also, why did Disney do this? Because I feel like there's a couple of things here where it almost seems like it's a really bad thing, but on the flip side, if you think about it from Disney's perspective, there's probably a reason why they're doing this. So let's think about it for a second. Let's think about what happened with Kenobi. So, if you're not aware, Kenobi was supposed to be a film series, like a trilogy. And the our season of Kenobi was supposed to be the first movie of that series. However, what happened is that when The Last Jedi came out and split the fandom, and then Solo came out not too long after that, and people decided to not go see Solo because of what happened in The Last Jedi, the numbers for Star Wars films look like they were a lot lower than they were. So, because honestly, I think Solo is a lot better than what it got from its box office and whatnot. So, Disney had this idea that Star Wars films are kind of, not the greatest move right now. They're definitely going to put out Rise of Skywalker so that they can cap off this trilogy and then reevaluate. And then that's when they kind of moved to Disney Plus for The Mandalorian and all the shows that came after that. And so, Kenobi got turned into a show, and then the story that was supposed to be for the first movie kind of got stretched out a bit so that it would fit, was it 6 episodes? And then, we got what we got. And so a lot of people were frustrated with the fact that Kenobi had a pretty small budget in comparison to some of the other shows, especially since, they were bringing back Ewan McGregor, they were bringing back Hayden Christensen. It seemed like this should have been a home run, a grand slam, if that. Just because we're playing on the nostalgia immensely. We have these characters back. They played their characters phenomenally, but it just didn't land because of all the extra things that happened within the show. And unfortunately, a lot of it was geared towards Reva's character, but at the same time, Reva's character was, I feel, stretched in a way because it had to fit the show. And then there were things at the end of the show that were rumored to have changed, and arguably, even without the changes, Reva's character probably should have had a different outcome, but we've been having kind of this Disney version of Star Wars where everybody gets redeemed and everybody survives in some way, shape, or form. And so, the show, between the budget and everything that happened, really soured the fans. Uh, I still say that Kenobi was probably my favorite show up to that point, for the year it came out, because we did our whole breakdown of what came out that year, and it was my top show. But it definitely could have been a lot better. So now we're starting to turn the page. We're heading towards the Acolyte, which is set during the time of the High Republic, which is this new era of Star Wars that Disney is basically trying to settle, its roots into. This was not something that was there before Disney bought Star Wars. It's kind of like their way of being able to pick an era of Star Wars and completely do something new, or at least fairly new. It's a time frame where we really haven't explored with film. We've kind of explored around this time period, with Knights of the Old Republic and whatnot, which is again a project that people want, and Disney should probably get into that. But yeah, so this is the first true era that Disney is trying to get its feet wet with Star Wars and essentially have very full grasp of creative freedom. And so it came out in this report that the budget for the Acolyte is double the budget of Kenobi, which I don't know the episode count yet, but if it's following the past shows for the Star Wars shows, it's probably going to be around 8. Maybe they'll stretch it to 10 episodes. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really think it'll be 6. That seemed very short for the Kenobi show, let alone a Star Wars miniseries. But again, it was probably that short because they took the film and tried to stretch it as much as they possibly could. And if they would have stretched it to 8, that show probably would have struggled a lot. So we're thinking about, why would Disney want to do this with the Acolyte? Why are they throwing double the budget there as they did Kenobi? Well, if we, again, thinking about this idea that this is the first era that Disney is really trying to invest in where they can have their own identity, that to me screams why they would be dumping that much money into it. They are really trying to establish this time period to be amazing, unique, and honestly, they want their name attached to it, in my opinion. They don't want it to be, oh, this was inspired by things that were already created by George Lucas, aside from like Yoda, of course, because I'm pretty sure Yoda's in the show. Aside from those things, this is going to be 100% them. And I think that's why they're doing it. Um, with Kenobi, a lot of it was based on, hey, this happened before. We've got the people back that, and all these amazing characters that George Lucas created, and we are giving the fans something that we think that they want based on what has happened in the past. Whereas now we are establishing our own identity, our own story, our own show, and now we're gonna go, moving forward. And so not only that, they want this show to absolutely hit because arguably some of the shows have been very mixed with fans. But if you know Disney well, they're not in it just for the shows. They are in it so that they can sell merchandise. They are going to be putting things in the Disney parks, in the Disney store, in your major retailers that follow the show, and they want people to love their characters. And so by putting a bunch of money into this, they are really, really betting on the fact that it will do well and that people will respond well to buying not only into the show, but also the products around them. I know there's tons of books out there already. I actually have not read any of them. I've heard very mixed things from people that have read it, and so it's been kind of, do I get into it? Do I not? And I kind of feel like this show is going to be the way that kind of pushes me in one direction or the other for that. So I think this it sounds like a bad thing, but I think ultimately it is not a bad thing because of what Disney could be doing with it. Am I sad about the fact that Kenobi didn't get a bigger budget and they didn't do bigger things with it? Of course. I feel like if Kenobi had the proper budget, they definitely could have made this the film it was supposed to be. If you have not heard, there has been one of the writers came out and talked about what the movie was supposed to be, and it sounded absolutely amazing. And if they would have gotten the money for it, I think they would have been, going on that right track that they were really hoping for, but they played safe and made it a show. So I think moving forward, maybe this could be good news, but unfortunately, as a fan, we do feel a little sad about what could have been in the past. But at the same time, if we want hope for Star Wars to turn around and to get better, we have to look towards the future. And we got to hope that these projects end up being great. And if people were honest about the 2 episode premiere that a lot of people got to see already, a lot of those reactions were positive. So fingers crossed that they end up being that way when we see them this week. But that was my thoughts on this budget issue that people are talking about as of late. So if you enjoy this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Drops a like if you like the video and drops a comment letting us know your thoughts on the whole budget idea. Does it make sense? Are you just upset, that this show is getting more attention than others? Let us know. And then as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.